Alright, hello everyone. We are gonna roll for Baizhu. 15 pity. This is a guaranteed with 164 wishes. So, here we go. 25. There's also Kave, who's new. Maybe you could get a... That is a bow. Alright, 35. That's official. 45. We're about halfway. 55. What the hell is happening? I need constellations for the other two characters and I keep getting official. 65. What the hell? What is going on here? This is gonna be 85, so we should show up here. Boom. There it is. What is that? Goodness. Okay. Okay. Let's see if I can get Kave. One more bowl. Let's go! Now I got him. Let's go! Now I'm satisfied. Alright, we're gonna be doing Baizhu's story quest now that I have Baizhu himself. He's a bit built now, level 90. Lots of HP. Still work in progress. But yeah. Sometimes he's coughing when sprinting. One of his idle animations is something like him going like, "Oh, it's nothing, just some like chronic illness, nothing to worry about." I guess we'll find out what's going on with him.
What's your name, buddy? Are you here to buy some medicine? Where are your mom and dad?
Are you lost?
No, I'm not. My name's Ayu, and I'm here because...
Hey there, Chi-Chi! Hi, Gui! What's going on?
This little boy seems to have gotten himself lost. I think he must be new to the city. Probably wandered away from his parents and...
No, listen to me! I'm not the one who's lost. It's my dad.
Your dad? How does a fully grown man manage to get lost in Liyue Harbor?
Well, my dad's always been kind of forgetful. In the past, he was just a little slow to react sometimes. But I'm worried that it's getting more serious.
So, what about your mom?
She went out a few days ago to gather some herbs for my dad, but she still hasn't come back. Meanwhile, my dad's been getting worse and worse. I remember that the owner of Boo Boo Pharmacy always runs a clinic in Chingsa Village during the Lantern Ride, so I thought, why don't I take Dad to Liyue Harbor to see him there? When we got to the city gate, I took a moment to ask the Millith guards for directions to the pharmacy. And then, when I turned back around, my dad was gone. I asked the Millith guys to go find him, but he said they won't be able to send that many people.
You came to the right place. We're pros at finding people.
Piece of cake.
Changshen can help. She has a good sense of smell, like a dog. Hey, who's talking about me behind my back?
Changshen, Chi-Chi meant that as a compliment. There's no need to be upset. Hello, child. You mentioned that you were looking for the owner of Boo Boo Pharmacy. How might we be of service?
You have a talking snake? Oh, are you Uncle Baizhu?
Uncle Baizhu?
Changshen, now's not the time. My dear boy, could you tell me more about your father's condition? As much as you can recall.
Yes, Dr. Baizhu.
I see. And your family lives near Chingsa Village, you say? I visit patients there frequently, but I don't recall ever seeing you or your parents.
Uh-huh. My mom doesn't like meeting other people, especially during Lantern Ride.
Huh?
She always tells me to just stay at home and keep my dad company.
Why?
Is that so? Ayu, by any chance, is your mother's name Jiangli?
Whoa, yeah, it is. Do you know my mom, Dr. Baizhu?
I certainly do. Gui, Chi-Chi, are there any pressing matters in the pharmacy at the moment? Ayu's parents are old acquaintances of mine, so I would very much like to assist with the search. Would the two of you have time to join me?
Don't forget
How
us,
did he
too.
know?
We already told Ayu that we'd help.
Oh, really? Well, that's wonderful. We are most grateful for your support.
Excuse me, sirs. Have you found out anything about my dad yet?
Hey there, buddy. Dr. Baizhu.
The boy asked for our help, so we're here to join the search.
Oh, thank goodness. We were just discussing how we're running out of manpower. As for updates, I'm sorry to say that we've searched the surrounding area thoroughly, but didn't find anything.
The guards at the crossing up ahead said they hadn't seen anyone either, so we don't believe he was heading towards the Guili Plains. But it is possible that he was bound for Luhua Pool.
We'll take that area.
You will? Oh, great.
Dad!
Oh, I see someone.
Dad, can you hear me?
Is this it?
There's somebody over there. Oh no, it's... Hey, you! Stop!
Move, guys! Why are we just standing here? Go!
Watch where you're going.
What the? Hu Tao?
Dear customer, Wangsheng Funeral Parlor does appreciate your patronage, but you needn't hasten the inevitable.
Oh my god!
Are you all right? It's the traveler in Paimon, and... my worst nightmare. I see she still hasn't warmed to you.
Thank you, Director Hu, for saving this man.
Dad, are you okay? Do you recognize me?
Are you?
Your name is Jia Liang, and you live just west of Qingse Village. You were supposed to come to Liyue Harbor to see the doctor. Remember?
Oh, my name is Jia Liang. Liyue Harbor. See the doctor?
You're not seriously thinking of taking him to Boo Boo Pharmacy in this state, are you? Huh?
What else are we gonna do?
Come on, Baizhu. Don't tell me you haven't noticed it. Why do I get the sense that you spotted them right away? Use what? What are you talking about? Paimon's lost.
There are traces of god remains in Jialiang's system.
Of what?
Yes, but more importantly, they're on the verge of an outburst.
What?
If that happens, the consequences will be unthinkable.
What?
Paimon, sorry, what?
What?
God remains?
It is the sworn duty of all who practice medicine to cure illnesses and save lives. Besides, it was my late master's dying wish to be able to save this patient in particular.
Wait, what?
Now you're bringing my great-uncle into this? Baizhu, just what are you planning this time?
Merely to cure this man, nothing more. But of course, if you have any doubt as to my intentions, you are more than welcome to accompany me to Boo Boo Pharmacy and monitor my activities.
Oh, really? I thought I was persona non grata at Boo Boo Pharmacy. You're being unusually generous today.
Blockages within the cardiovascular system, reduced blood flow and energy circulation? I see. I suppose this must have caused the cognitive abnormalities.
Dr. Baizhu, how bad is it? Can you cure him?
Don't you worry. Baizhu's a really great doctor.
Shush, Paimon, we don't know yet!
Ayu, do you know when your father first started displaying these symptoms?
I'm not sure. He's been like this for as long as I can remember.
We're too late.
But it wasn't as bad as this when I was still little.
If it's been like a long term
So
thing,
it's
it's
been
too
a long
late,
time
man.
indeed.
Is it a grim prognosis?
No, I have a treatment plan in mind. We can start tonight. Come and see me again tomorrow morning.
That doesn't mean cure.
I promise that by then, Ayu will find his father healthy and lucid again.
Thank you, Dr. Baizhu. Thank you so much.
If you still have any misgivings, Director Hu, please feel free to hang around for as long as you wish.
However, it would be best if you step outside this room. A doctor must be able to focus when treating a patient. I'll just go and look at the flowers or something. But I will be back in an instant at the first sign that something's
Okay, I'll go
amiss.
too.
See you tomorrow, Baizhu and Changchang?
And what do you have to discuss with the funeral director today?
So...
Actually, don't tell me. Let me guess. From the looks on your faces, you've got some questions for me.
Yeah.
Oh, and also, how come you and Baizhu could tell so quickly that Jia Liang had god remains in his system?
Huh? I thought I told you once before. Wangsheng Funeral Parlor was first founded to fight back against the vengeful wrath of gods defeated in war.
Oh, okay.
Well, it is a dusty old tale by this point. Long story short, in the ancient world, dead gods were acting up, so our ancestors started purifying the air and burning the bodies of the deceased to guard the border between life and death.
Right.
These days, we don't deal with the wrath of the gods anymore, but all the relevant
What about
know-how
the wrath
is
of
still
the
passed
rock,
down to
huh?
each
No, I'm
generation,
kidding.
so we can identify God's remains when we see them.
Okay, Paimon gets it now. Wait, so how did Baizhu learn to spot them?
Almost certainly from his master, who was also my great-uncle. Baizhu's master was my grandpa's younger brother, a former deputy director of Wangsheng Funeral Parlor.
Wow, fancy that! Huh. So, if he was from Wangsheng Funeral Parlor, how did he end up as Baizhu's master?
According to my grandpa, he and my great-uncle once went traveling together when they were young. They ended up at Chenyu Vale, where they met a pharmacist. That pharmacist must have cast some sort of spell on my great-uncle.
What?
Because after that encounter, he suddenly announced he wanted to leave the family business and go practice medicine instead.
Oh.
My grandpa had a huge argument with him, but he couldn't convince him to stay. So my grandpa inherited the funeral parlor, while my great-uncle stayed in Chenyu Vale to practice medicine. They never spoke to each other again. If he had just become a regular doctor, there would have been no issue. After all, the Wangsheng Funeral Parlor wasn't unlike a regular doctor's clinic in the early days. But according to my grandpa, the pharmacist they met had a very ominous aura about him.
Huh?
And on top of that, the kind of medicine practiced in the Chenyu Vale tradition goes against the natural order of things.
Like-
In what way?
Yeah, what are you talking
Don't
about?
know. My grandpa didn't know the specifics.
Is that why Baizhu wanted us to
You've seen how
leave?
wary Baizhu is around me. He'd never tell me anything. One thing I do know about Baizhu is that he's obsessed with the idea of immortality. But whether that has anything to do with what he's hiding is hard to say.
Immortality? A doctor?
Anyway, so I will be
That's
sticking around here
unusual.
for now to keep a close eye on the situation.
Dad!
Hey, how we doing?
Oh, are you?
Dad, you remember me!
Yes, I remember now. Oh, are you? I'm so sorry. You must have been worried sick. Has your mom shown up yet? She's been gone for a while, hasn't she?
How
Don't worry, Dad.
how is
I
he
got the
just
Adventurers
perfectly
Guild to
fine
help us look for her.
over the course
and
of
Dr.
one night?
Baizhu's gonna help too. Right now, all you need to do is concentrate on getting better.
I suggest you stay at Boo Boo Pharmacy and rest for at least the next few days.
Director Hu, do you have any further reservations about Jia Liang's condition?
It seems like the evil presence is gone after all. You really did manage to suppress it, huh? How did you accomplish this in a single night?
That would be a trade secret, I'm afraid. If that gives you any cause for concern, you may continue to monitor Jia Liang for as long as you wish.
Huh? Something's wrong.
I've been stuck indoors for too long. Baizhu, take me outside for some air, or I'm going to suffocate.
Yes, of course. Everyone, please excuse Changsheng and myself for a moment.
Suffering now, are we? Did you seriously expect to cover it up just by putting on a brave face and ignoring it? But in any case, Why must you keep this a secret from everybody? You should at least share your secret with one person you trust.
I'm right here.
Who's there?
It's me.
Why did you follow us here?
Probably not the person to trust, but you know, you were looking a little unwell.
Oh, it's nothing. I just needed to get some air.
What did I just say about putting on a brave face? Traveler, Paimon, the truth is, Baizhu did not cure Jialiang's illness. Instead, he transferred some of his own life force to his patient to temporarily subdue the poison in his system.
Oh, that's what you do at Boo Boo Pharmacy? Poison? Is this your little trade secret?
Can you please explain all of this?
My predecessors in medicine forged a contract with Changsheng. Every successor to this contract is able to use Changsheng's secret art to treat patients.
That's why you have that
I
stupid
believe
snake?
the irregularities with Jialiang's heart meridian were likely caused by a poison concocted using god remains as a key ingredient. The poison has not been purged from Jialiang's system. Rather, I infused him with some of my own life force, using Changsheng as the delivery medium. This will suppress the poison's effects for a limited time.
Oh.
Changsheng? You can do that? Huh. Paimon always thought you were just Baizhu's strange choice of a necklace. Hey, I'll have you know that I commanded the respect of even the Adepti back in Chenyu Vale.
Please, that's enough.
Are you sure you're okay?
Wait a sec. Huto was saying that the branch of medicine you studied uses some pretty dubious methods.
Changsheng helps to keep my chi in balance, so there is no great harm done.
Still, Baiju's life force is not unlimited. We must find a way to neutralize the poison in Jialiang's body, and soon. Traveler, Paimon, would you lend this dummy a hand? He needs someone checking up on him, or he'll exhaust himself trying to accomplish everything on his own.
Not a dummy.
I think I should pay a visit to their family home and look for clues as to how he might have been exposed to it.
I told you, see, he coughs sometimes when I'm sprinting. He's always sick. Aww.
There's a house all the way out here? Could you tell us more about Jiang Li? You said she was your fellow disciple, right?
She was indeed. We studied medicine together under the same master near Chenyu Vale. She is several years older than I and also began her travels far earlier than me. As a result, the time I spent studying alongside her was rather short.
Supposedly, she met an herb gatherer sometime during her travels and decided to settle down with him. That must have been Jialiang.
The last time she visited us, she and Master had some sort of quarrel. We never heard from her after that. It almost seemed as if she'd gone into hiding.
Quarrel? What happened? I don't know. I did not witness the argument myself.
Nor did Master ever explain it to me.
What is this?
What the hell?
Changsheng and I found a hidden compartment. This is what was hidden inside.
Like, really obvious.
You
God
sense
remains?
it too? You're right. This is a poison concocted using god remains.
Who put that?
Is it breathing?
I do believe the poison in this bottle is alive.
Alive.
Some toxins act a lot like living organisms. I read about this once in The Origins and Symptoms of Diseases. This ancient class of poisons consists of mother and minor loads, capable of sustaining a connection over vast distances. If it's a concoction of this kind we're dealing with, then both the poison in Jialiang's system and this one here are likely minor loads. Offshoots, essentially.
Offshoots? So, the main body is somewhere else?
Correct. Whoever is administering the poison can manipulate the source to indirectly control the poisoned individual's behavior and even cognition. Similarly, the poisoned individual will hear, to a varying extent, the call of the source.
The call of the... Wait. So back when Jia Liang ran off, maybe that explains where he was heading!
He was going back towards Qingce Village.
Only one thing could have been drawing him there. The source of the god remains used as the poison's key ingredient.
Since this poison was carefully hidden away in a secret compartment, the one who concocted it is likely a resident of the house.
Oh my god, it's the mother.
Look at the facts, though. How many people in the entirety of Liyue have the ability to concoct a poison from god remains?
It's too early to draw any conclusions. We should question Jia Liang about it once he has made more progress in his recovery.
Do you know of a method to neutralize the poison?
Yes. According to the origins and symptoms of diseases, the minor loads will disappear if the mother load is purged. So if we can find and destroy the source of these god remains, the poison will leave Jia Liang's system without the need for any further treatment. Do you know anything about god remains in Qingce Village?
No, I've only heard the rumors.
Even the history books have no record of this. Didn't you used to be on good terms with the Adepti, though? Well,
Changsheng's memories and powers are not what they were in her prime.
Oh.
These days, she has to enter a contract with a mortal and share their life force just to sustain her own life. I fear that such ancient events are long gone from her memory by now.
Whoa.
She made a contract with you.
Enter a contract? Share life force? Hey, plenty of people would jump at the chance to join forces with a powerful being like me. With my assistance in rebalancing your chi, not only can you extend your lifespan, but you will also be stronger, healthier, and able to eat whatever you like with no risk of upsetting your stomach.
That does sound like a great deal.
Stronger
I'm
and
in.
healthier?
Can I get a contract?
That's amazing!
I'll sign up right now.
Baizhu, maybe when you retire, you can let Paimon sign a contract with Changsheng for a few days.
Unfortunately, Changsheng's contract has strict requirements regarding the host's temperament. None of her...
Temperament? Hey! What are you trying to say?
Xiao. Oh, Xiao's here?
You called?
Yay! Yay! Yay!
It's Paimon every time. Are all Adepti in the habit of materializing out of thin air like this?
Well, this is unexpected.
Huh? It's you.
Baizhu of Bubu Pharmacy. I do believe I've had the pleasure before. The Lantern Rite, when we met briefly, I was unaware of your true identity. I must apologize for the discourtesy.
Huh? You two already know each other?
Our paths have crossed once before. I sense the presence of evil spirits. Is this why you called me?
Yeah. Well, let me explain. Actually, I wanted to ask you about dead gods.
So someone has been concocting demonic poison. Too often, fervent desires drive mortals to abandon all regard for their own safety. It is lamentable. I now know what you seek. It is true that a god's remains are buried beneath the foundations of Qingce Village. A vile monster known as the Che once wrought havoc over this land, before it was subdued by Rex Lapis. The land was finally cleansed of poison when Rex Lapis used statues in his likeness to seal the serpent's remains. Qingce Village was founded some time after that. The seal is still mostly intact. If the Che is the source, then it must be some of its blood leaking from deep underground. However, its aura is faint and barely detectable. You will need to investigate further to identify the location of the leak.
I see.
I do not like to intervene against mortals unless absolutely necessary. But when demonic forces are involved, things can spiral out of control. If that happens, be sure to call my name again.
I will. Thank you, Xiao.
Nothing. I do not wish to sway decisions that are mortals to make, but immortality may not be the blessing that you imagine it to be.
I shall treasure your
Yeah.
words of instruction, Master
Xiao would
Adeptus.
know.
Farewell.
Master! Master, there's a problem.
Gwei? Did you run all the way from Boo Boo Pharmacy?
What happened? Don't panic.
It's Jiaoliang. He was fine 1 minute, and then he suddenly took a turn for the worse.
He should have been fine for the next 3 days at least.
It seems that my worst fears have been confirmed. Everyone, back to Boo Boo Pharmacy now.
Don't be scared. Dr. Baizhu will be back soon.
How is he doing?
Terrible, apparently.
My dad was doing fine earlier, but then he suddenly started coughing up blood.
Ugh.
Now he can't even get a full word out anymore.
Ugh.
When Gwei left, he was still conscious. But now...
Okay, that's just
Gwei,
disturbing.
please take Jiaoliang to the back room and prepare for treatment.
Yes, of course.
Baizhu's not gonna use Changsheng's secret art again, is he?
It's a little too soon to be doing that
No other way
again.
to save Jiaoliang?
Alright, it's another day.
How are you feeling, Dad? Are you still hurting anywhere?
Much better, Ayu. I'm feeling much better. In fact, I can't explain it, but somehow I feel even better than usual. Wait, where's Dr. Baizhu? I still haven't had a chance to thank him. Seems he moved me here before I came to.
Master said he needed to take a quick rest and asked me to bring you out of the treatment room. He hasn't emerged yet, so he must still be resting. I strongly suggest that you stay and rest at Boo Boo Pharmacy for now.
I suppose you're right. I'll have to rely on you this time. Though, on the bright side, this means I can thank Dr. Baizhu in person once he's finished resting.
Traveler, Baizhu hasn't shown his face ever since he went
Let's
in
go
to
check
treat
up on him.
You're finally awake? That was far too risky. Even with me here to help you balance your chi.
There was no time. I had no other choice. In any case, it was not completely without benefit to myself. I managed to learn something. Jiang Li's design is quite brilliant. She makes numerous innovations that I can learn from. Alas, if only there wasn't a catch.
So, how much longer do you think Baizhu's gonna nap for? They've been outside waiting for you the whole time while you were asleep.
There's no need to be concerned. I merely had to transfer a rather large amount of life force on this occasion.
I merely had
with
to transfer
Changsheng's
a
help,
large amount
I
of
will
life
recover
force.
in time.
Jiaoliang seemed fine yesterday. Why did he need more life-saving treatment again so soon?
I made an error in my initial diagnosis. Jiaoliang is in fact suffering from more than one ailment, and as a result, his life force depleted at a greater rate than I had anticipated.
What? You mean, even if you got all the poison out of him, he'd still be sick?
Yes. But more pertinently, the poison in Jiaoliang's system is there precisely because it is being used to manage his underlying medical condition. Jiaoliang has a rare congenital heart condition, and ongoing treatment is essential to maintaining healthy functioning of his heart meridian. Left untreated, it puts the patient at risk of coughing up blood and fainting, and in the longer term, causes irreversible damage to the internal organs. Though it was created from god remains, this formula is not a poison in Jiaoliang's case. Rather, it's his medication.
Had he not taken it all these years, he likely would have died a long time ago.
So that's why Jiang Li did it.
Still, using poison to treat a disease is hardly a viable long-term solution. As time passed, and the poison accumulated in his system, it began to impact his cognition. Moreover, the longer he relied upon this medicine, the more resistant his body became to it.
Yep.
Jiang Li had to concoct ever greater quantities to ensure its continued efficacy, or he could have still perished at any moment.
That explains why Ayu said his dad has been getting worse, and why his mom went off to gather herbs.
God remains are extremely dangerous to be around, because humans have no natural defense against them. I fear that the situation is just as that Adeptus described. In an effort to save Jia Liang's life, Jiang Li has abandoned all regard for her own safety. I have stabilized Jia Liang's condition for now, so our immediate priority should be to get ourselves back to Qingsa village and find out where Jiang Li is. Her regular exposure to God remains over such a long period will have been catastrophic for her health. And given that she's already been missing for several days...
Oh.
Dr. Baizhu, please let me come with you. You've already done so much for my family. I can no longer just sit here and watch while you put yourself at risk for Jiang Li's sake. After all, if it wasn't for me, she wouldn't have had to put herself in harm's way in the first place. I'm sure I'll be able to remember. I know there's a spot where she says goodbye to me every time she goes to gather her herbs.
Be careful. If you get too agitated, your blood pressure and stress levels will rise, putting further pressure on your heart.
No! We're out of time!
Nope.
Before I forget everything again.
This trip will be extremely dangerous, and there is a very real possibility that you will not return from it. Are you sure you're prepared for that?
I never expected to live this long in the first place. My death is already long overdue, so why should I fear it? There's only one thing I fear now, and that's that I'll forget her again before we manage to find her.
Very well.
That's some... Oh my
Then
god, why is
follow me.
Hu Tao listening too? I was gonna say what he said there was so real.
Could you please prepare a dose of the usual formula?
Dr. Baizhu, do you mean...
Hop to it now.
That strange feeling is back. It's just like the day I went missing. It's as if something inside me is trying to guide me somewhere.
Wait, we could actually use this to our advantage, right?
The Motherlode's influence is growing stronger. But is it because we're getting closer to the source? Or because the leakage of Che blood is growing more severe? Jia Liang, can you sense which direction the source is in?
I think it's... this way. This must be the way. This place feels familiar. I think I've been here before.
This place gives Paimon the creeps. The digging marks here appear amateur and rather old. I suspect it is a thieves' tunnel.
But why did they abandon this place without even stopping to pack up their tools?
I remember now. She took me here once and told me that she'd found a way to save me in this cave. But she said that the method would cause me to, curses. Why can't I remember what she said?
Mind the side effect.
By royalty, everyone help
What's that?
Whoa, there's a sensor here. Those treasure hoarders sure made themselves at home.
I don't think this was left here by treasure hoarders.
I believe this sensor was used to burn a monster-repelling incense.
A monster repelling incense? You sure?
Let's call up Xiao. He can tell us. He
The
knows.
incense was burned several days ago. If I had to guess, the monsters we fought just now were enticed here by some entity deeper inside the cave. No doubt an encounter with the very same entity was what prompted the treasure hoarders to flee and abandon their designs on this cave. After them, Jiang Li was the next person to discover this place and what lies inside. But to her, it presented an opportunity to save Jia Liang's life, albeit as a last resort.
That's right. This sensor, it belongs to Jiang Li. This is where I told Jiang Li to give me the poison.
Jia Liang!
I'm fine. Let's keep going. I can feel it. She is right below us. It's right up ahead. The place where we made a pact together to...
What the heck is this?
Ha! We can keep going now!
From the looks of it, the energy released by this mechanism can not only clear barriers, but also be conducted by corresponding mechanisms.
What the heck is this?
Perhaps it's something we can make use of.
Let me push it this. Open this door? There we go. Okay.
Oh, Hey! The Temple of Wisdom!
Defract!
What the? I haven't seen these guys in a while.
Well now.
Okay. Wait a minute. All the way in this first room, there was a door right here. I was just missing it. I just didn't see it for some reason. Oh my goodness. I can't activate it? Can I... Aha! Let's go! What the...
Zhongli!
Oh no!
There's a monster next to her!
The god remains must have lured them here. Watch my back. I can still feel a pulse, but her condition is quite grave. The god remains here are encroaching on her cognition. If we don't eliminate it soon, then even if we save her life, I fear that she may never wake up again.
Then, what are we waiting for? Let's destroy the remains right away! It's not as simple as that. The poison within Jialiang's body is inextricably linked to the god remains here. If the source is purged, the poison in his system will stop having any effect. And the poison within Jialiang's body is keeping his heart condition under control. So, if it stops working... Oh no. Are you saying...
Indeed. If the god remains here are purged, then your life will come to an end.
I wondered when this day might come.
Oh dear.
It appears to me that she was striving to concoct your medicine for you, right up until the moment when she lost consciousness. Maybe it's her greatest wish that you will continue to take it and live.
Dr. Baizhu, give it to me straight. How long does Zhongli have?
The god remains have reached her internal organs. Under ordinary circumstances, I would give her less than 3 days. But if I were to treat her using a secret art...
You can't be thinking about that again.
But what would be the point of that? If I continue to sustain my own life using this wretched substance, not only would Zhongli have to keep risking her life to make my medicine for me, but I would have to live with the looming threat of these remains breaking out and wreaking havoc not just upon me, but my entire family. I know for a fact that I should have died over a decade ago. The fact that I've been around to see how you grow up is already a great blessing from Rex Lapis. Dr. Baizhu, could I have another minute with my wife? I just want to have one final moment together.
I've seen many final farewells in my time, but I can never get used to it.
In the human realm, all things must come to an end. Is it not a fitting end to die for a worthy cause? At least, that's what generations of masters before you have always believed.
The path they chose was indeed a heroic one. But when I think of those who would willingly sacrifice themselves for others, I cannot help but think that theirs are the lives least deserving of death.
When all this began, we agreed that once Ayu was old enough to help you gather herbs, it would be time for me to go. If you could only see him now. So, I know that you'll both be okay without me. I've said my goodbyes. My time has come. Do what you must.
As you wish.
It will eat away at both your cognition and your memories. In the end, you'll become little more than a shadow of your true self.
I'll take it. At the very least, it will allow me to stay with you and watch Ayu grow up.
Mom, something's really wrong with Dad.
Don't fret, Ayu. I will gather some medicinal herbs right away.
Why would these memories come to mind now? Oh, how I would love to hear your voice one last time.
Jialiang! Dad, are you awake?
Huh?
Jiangli, are you? Huh? What are these?
How does
What's
it feel
happening?
to come back to life?
What?
Do you feel strange or different in any way? If
Dr. Baizhu, I thought that I was going to...
What
Die?
kind of secret art is this
you
one,
did
huh?
indeed. As things stand now, you're more akin to a zombie than a human.
Oh,
I'm
you
a
did
zombie?
Chi-Chi's thing.
That's
Okay.
right. Before we set off, I asked Chi-Chi to prepare an elixir of immortality. With its help, you have been suspended in the space between life and death. Of course, this is but a crude imitation of an Adeptus art. I don't expect it to extend your life indefinitely. Whether it will keep you alive for a few days, a few months, or a few years, I am as interested as you to find out. But, however long you have left, I believe it should be more than sufficient time for you to say your final goodbyes before departing the world in peace. I hope that Director Hu finds this arrangement to be a satisfactory one.
An elixir of immortality? How'd you cook that up? Ugh. Leave it to you to work on something like that behind my back.
And even this would have counted for nothing without Director Hu's assistance.
Oops. And I'm busted.
Without Director Hu nudging things in the right direction, we may not have found Jiang Li in time.
All I wanted was to help Jialiang find his missing wife as soon as possible. Leave it to Boo Boo Pharmacy to snatch the perfect opportunity right out of my hands at the last hurdle. One Chi-Chi was enough of a conundrum. The last thing I need's another one. If I'd known this was coming, I'd have whisked him off to the Wangsheng funeral parlor the moment I found him.
At times like this, a grand celebratory feast is in order.
It feels like it was a whole lifetime ago when I last talked with Jiangli and Ayu around the dinner table.
This was a hard-won meal.
Yay! Paimon can't wait!
Okay.
Wait up! I'll come too!
Baizhu, thank you so much for everything you've done for us.
Don't mention it, Jiang Li. I was just doing my duty.
Would you mind if we took this conversation outside? I've taken a look at your elixir of immortality. It's not altogether dissimilar from the poison I concocted in terms of the way it functions.
I have to say, Jiang Li, it was a stroke of genius to use poison to maintain life. I hope you're not too upset at me for copying your methods.
No, not at all. With your intellect, even if you'd never seen my poison, I believe you would have eventually arrived at the same approach. But I'm still impressed by how quickly you managed to gain such a thorough understanding of it. Jialiang's still only been in your care for a few days. Not just that, you even managed to improve upon the original formula. Baizhu, be honest with me. Did you try out some of the poison on yourself?
Uh-oh.
Life force isn't the only thing that Chang Shang's contract lets you transfer between bodies, is it?
Oh.
Nothing gets past you, Jiangli. You are correct. Besides life force, Chang Shang's secret art also allows for the transfer of toxins and diseases. When I treated Jia Liang for the second time, I transferred some of the poison from his body into my own. Not only did this allow me to alleviate the burden on him, but it also gave me an opportunity to study its properties. There is no need to worry about any long-term consequences to my health, however. Now that the source has been destroyed, any remaining poison in me will have already dissipated.
Bro, you were
But
dying.
you took such a huge risk. If we hadn't destroyed the god's remains back there, then even you might have... What am I saying? The reason I left our master and went into hiding all those years ago was that he was getting old. And I didn't want him using up any more of his own life force to treat my husband. But in the end, how were my methods any different? I risked one life to save another. And then you tried the poison on yourself too. It looks like both of us have ended up going the same way as our master before us. Can you still stop before it's too late?
I think you know the answer, Jiangli. Every one of us from Chenyu Vale believes in the same thing.
That's not a good response.
I know I won't be able to convince you, but please don't forget that if one day you're not around anymore, Chi-Chi, Gui, and all the friends who have grown fond of you, they will all miss you dearly.
There's no need to worry, Jiangli. I know what I'm doing.
No, you don't.
What did Jiang Li mean by not around anymore? Every single mortal I've ever contracted with, including Baizhu and Jiang Li's master, has passed away at a young age. Wait, that doesn't make any sense.
It is a very long story.
Long ago, when plagues ravaged the land, one doctor made a pledge to rid the world of pain and suffering. But even the most ingenious mortal medicine could not stay the tide of disease. And after working tirelessly for many years, even his dearest loved ones fell sick and bade their final farewell. Legends told of an herb lord in Chenyu Vale who could cure any illness known to mankind. The doctor sought the herb lord, but found only a white snake, its breathing weak and its power all but spent.
Sign this contract and let our lives be joined. Then I will impart to you the secret art of healing. But be warned, this art will harm your own health.
With means beyond human ken, the doctor could now reverse the process of death. And yet, the time still came to say goodbye. Only now, the one departing was the doctor, his life force spent. His final act in life was to pass on the contract to his final patient, his favorite disciple. The disciple chose to dedicate their life to saving the lives of others. And generation upon generation followed in these footsteps. Since I inherited this contract, I've always respected the path taken by my predecessors and followed it myself unquestioningly. That is until I tried to use the art to save my own disciple's beloved. She begged me not to use up my own life force. She said that this art is a poison chalice, an evil and unnatural practice. She did not wish to sacrifice one life for the sake of another, when both were lives she treasured. Only then did it occur to me. Did I not suffer when my master passed away, just as patients' families do at their loved one's deathbed? Are not the lives cut short by this contract just as worthy of saving as any patients? What is this contract to us? Medicine or poison? Alas, I no longer have enough time left to find the answer. I entrust to your care both Changsheng and this final question. May you find a remedy for this conundrum, which has ailed us so.
Time and again, no matter how much I try to warn them or balance their chi, I can never save them. And you? What's your answer?
If I abandoned the contract and left you without a host, what would happen?
I suppose I'd spend my final moments taking a nice nap on Mount Yaojun. Then I'd be reunited with my old friends and your predecessors.
Then it's decided. If there's a life in front of me that deserves to be saved, why shouldn't I do everything within my power to save it?
Once again, it's the same answer. So be it. Close your eyes. Who knows how many more people will take on this contract?
None. This contract will end with me.
My contract has strict requirements on the host's natural temperament. All my hosts have been most pure of heart.
But when one with an altruistic nature gains access to this art, they are more seduced than the average person by the miracle of overturning the laws of life and death. Though they know better than anyone else the fate that awaits them, when faced with the sorrows of humanity and the pain of losing their nearest and dearest, they cannot help but reach beyond human means. They are like moths that throw themselves into the flame, seeking a glimmer of hope in a dark world filled with pain and suffering.
So, Baizhu, does that mean...
I suppose that would make me a moth that yearns for the light, but doesn't want to be burned to a crisp. Many may view the notion of searching for immortality in poisons and illnesses as a flagrant violation of the natural order. But to me, it is no different from the way our ancestors tested the medicinal qualities of herbs by sampling each and every one.
I guess.
I don't want those who come after me to lose their lives to this contract. Nor do I wish for Changsheng to perish from losing her host. This leaves only one solution, doesn't it?
You have to become immortal yourself.
Precisely. I will be Changsheng's final host, and the tradition of passing down the contract will end with me.
Even the gods of old struggle to achieve true immortality. First you want to save others, then you want to save yourself. Now you even want to save me. You're getting greedy, Baizhu.
But isn't wanting to have it all what makes us human?
And that's it. Thank you guys for watching. See you in the next one. Bye-bye.